So, we're getting right into it here, boys and girls. Game number one, Striker versus Vindicator. Let me see in chat who you think's going to win this matchup. Let me know who you think is going to win this matchup. We have got Vindicator and Striker. Let me know who you think is going to win the series, Vindicator or Striker. As always, kicking things off in our blue corner is Striker's Egyptians versus our red corner is the Persians of Vindicator. And check this out, too. On Arabia, we have got the luscious and beautiful Persian Valley map skin, thanks to yours truly, PF2K. Quite amazing indeed. Look at this water. Look at that beautiful water. I just want to go set up my chair right here on the edge of the lake, cast me a rod into the water, and just do me some fishing, you know? Just go ahead and have a day on the lake fishing. It'd be amazing. Looks like Vindicator's throwing down a storehouse here on these berries and this stone mine. Very nice dual storehouse there, but he is going to be going for stone here. He's got his storehouse on his wood line. He's got his storehouse on his hunt. So as you usually expect on Arabia, we're going to see that fast H2 as opposed to the fast racks. Striker choosing, instead of his hunt, is choosing to go for his berry bushes, which is perhaps a good choice. I think he might be able to get through these trees. I don't know, but look at this. This is a really bizarre. Wow. Actually, that's very bizarre. I've never seen this before. That, I don't know. That's weird. It's very weird. I guess it's somewhat advantageous for Striker because he has kind of a defensive wall of trees, but it's disadvantageous because if he gathers from trees here, he will be able to be picked off. I don't know. It's very interesting. But nevertheless, he chooses not to go for his hunt. He chooses to go for his berries again, maybe because he would take a little bit more time than he would like to get through this tree line here to get to his hunt. And so, choosing to go on those berry bushes, but yet again, both players going for that fast H2. Striker is headed up to H2 with his Temple of Ra, as is Vindicator. So fairly standard opening here for these players on Arabia. But yeah, I'm really glad that we get this treat of the Persian Valley map skin thanks to PF2K. I think I said yours truly earlier, but what I meant by yours truly is your very own PF2K. So huge shout out to PF2K for creating this map skin. I love the Celtic Autumn skin as well, and then this Persian Valley skin is just beautiful. Beautiful. It's got these brown wolves, brownish, blackish wolves here. Very neat indeed. So again, both players are just kind of booming their economy here. Vindicator is going to scout this second town center for Striker. Striker protecting these mines on these berry bushes here. But I kind of like this second town center from Vindicator a little bit better. He did get pretty lucky, honestly, with these resources. Because as you can see here, you've got all 4 resources right here around this town center. And especially these mines and berry bushes. Literally all 3 of these resource nodes right here can be gathered to this town center here. So very nice from Vindicator taking advantage of the map spawn there. Let's take a look at the players' plateaus here. Arabia it features a very large map with a very open area kind of to the northwest of our players' bases. while they do start on a plateau on either side of the map. So Vindicator's got an opening here. He's got a standard middle opening, fairly large there in the middle. And then he's got his standard back end opening. Whereas Striker, kind of interesting. We might see Striker's markets up here in this corner. And he's got this opening right here that he'll need to defend. And then he's got his opening choke, or his middle choke point there. And then a pretty large opening choke point here at the front of his base. But again, he does have this nice defensive line of trees here to defend the front of his base. And it's very interesting. It wraps all the way around over here and also all the way around over here. So very interesting tree line there for Striker. Got a little bit of lag here. I think Vindicator usually lags a little bit, so I apologize about that. PF2K, I did just see that in Discord there, so thank you very much. That looks amazing. I think I should be able to make that work pretty well with the next match box and all that, and the check boxes. And I think I saw that the check marks, not check boxes, but check marks, I think I saw that those were colored as well, which I think is going to help as well. So very cool. Appreciate that. And I saw that webcam border as well, so that should work just fine. First camels onto the field here for Striker. Asabara on the field for Vindicator. Double stables up here for Striker. Vindicator choosing, interestingly enough, choosing to go for a 1-1-1 build. So I kind of had expected Vindicator to maybe even go for an kind of a fast age 3 approach for these Persians and get out Asabara and mounted archers. Mounted archers can do so well against camels, and in fact, I think what game did we see that? I think we saw that. Well, it wasn't the Persian mounted archer, but it was the Babylonian mounted archer versus the Egyptian camels earlier in that Eerie versus Recon show match that we had earlier. So yeah, I kind of expected, honestly, for Vindicator to go maybe fast age 3, get out these mounted archers here. But instead, he's electing to kind of go for this 1-1-1 approach. He's got the racks up. He's got double archer range. And he's going for spearmen as well out of here. These camels are going to be able to deny this second hunt. So again, Striker choosing to go heavy on the cavalry in age 2 here. Vindicator is going to have a difficult time defending against this as well, because as you can see, these spearmen are much slower than these camels, so he's going to have to strategically place these spearmen in order to defend his base here. Striker kind of gathering information about his opponent's base here. But look at this. In the meantime, Vindicator decides, you know what? I'll just leave some spearmen at home to defend against those camels, and I'll make a push of my own. And Striker does see this now, although his cursor was at home. Very cool thing about this spectator mode in Age of Empires Online is you can see the players' cursors. So we saw that Striker was not looking where these camels noticed these units. So I don't know, even though Striker technically scouted them, I don't know if he's ready for them or knows that they're coming. But he is going to move in with his own camels here. So these camels are actually going to see these units streaming across the map. So if Striker didn't see them before, he definitely knows now that Vindicator is on the move and is looking for trouble. Meanwhile, Striker, whereas I assumed Vindicator would go fast age 3, Striker has reached age 3 first. So this could be an opportune time for Vindicator to push, but he's not pushing yet. And very, very committed to this 1-1-1 build of Asabara, Spearman, Bowman. He's got a little bit of a home defense force here. He's going to try to defend against these camels, but he needs to make something happen with these units. Finally, he is moving in, and this could be big if he can catch this town center. He does not know it's there yet, but if he sees it... Oh, he does. He does now scout it. So is he going to notice it, though? Look, his cursor's at home. He hasn't noticed it yet. And he is just going for those villagers. And now he does see it. And I think it's going to be too late. I think this town center is going to go up fast enough. So, unfortunately there for Vindicator, he does not notice that town center in time to try to deny it. Kind of lucky there for Striker. But Striker is bringing his camels home in order to defend against this here. So yeah, this town center goes up no problem. Does force some idle time here. But, and look at this, Vindicator still getting some villagers. So 46 villagers to 56. So now Vindicator has about a 10 villager advantage as a result of this push. So this could be good for Vindicator. If Vindicator is able to, you know, he stayed in age 2, Striker pushed to age 3, and if Vindicator can take advantage of this, this could be great. This could be great for Vindicator. Vindicator, you know, even though he didn't see that town center, which, you know, it's difficult to see things when you're trying to multitask, when you're trying to move back and forth. You know, it's difficult to notice things, especially if the building's not actually built. But nevertheless, he still was able to do a good deal of damage to the villagers over here for Striker, and now he's causing some trouble on the eastern flank of Striker's base as well. So Vindicator so far, despite the fact that Striker is in age 3 and Vindicator has not kind of gone for the more traditional cavalry approach on Arabia, despite all of that, Vindicator is still making the most of this and is doing quite a good job so far. He does have the population advantage. We'll see if he's able to get anything done here. This is big. He needs to notice this. He needs to get his cursor over here and see this army of camels and chariot archers for Striker. But it seems like Vindicator does not care. He's going to move over here. He's going to move over with Asabara. He's going to get more villagers. This is huge for Vindicator. So good for Vindicator so far. And look at this. Now he's pushed in over here on this side of the base. And Striker, what is he doing? He needs to move his units into position. He's essentially left these villagers to die. And look at this. Vindicator with the bad manners. Gathering from his opponent's gold mine. Absolutely thieving that gold out from under Vindicator, or out from under Striker's nose. Absolute mad lad, this guy. Vindicator trying to jostle for position, and really he's effectively split Striker's base in half. If he's able to control this middle battlefield here, he's effectively split off this town center from this town center. And that's going to allow him to continue to pincer and move another portion of his army to harass this side of Striker's base. And then Striker suddenly has to split his forces and figure out how to deal with that. So this is good so far from Vindicator. And Striker is moving in the rest of his forces here, so he should be able to deal with this army from Vindicator, especially with this double town center fire. These camels are going to make short work of these Asabara with their cavalry bonus. And these chariot archers are very nice units for DPS. And now suddenly Vindicator is suddenly caught out of position. He's caught between the back of the map here and these two town centers and the army of Striker. So this is looking pretty dangerous for Vindicator. Vindicator is streaming reinforcements across the map, but he's taking a lot of heavy losses. Got a little bit out of position there. Maybe would have liked to see him kind of continue to hold this middle point here. Again, this point is critical. He could even, honestly, if he holds this point with maybe some Asabara and Spearmen, then he would be able to send another group of units this way to deal. Well, now there's a fortress over here, but he did try to send some units over here, but it was not enough because this fortress goes down, and now these camels are going to be able to deny this gold mine here. But he could still maneuver around this tree line and kind of encircle these two town centers. So I don't know. We'll see how Vindicator chooses to play it strategically, but now all of a sudden he's pincered by Stryker. Stryker has a group of chariot archers over here and over here on the left. And so if Stryker's still able to continue to kite with these units, it could be great there for Stryker. Stryker very smartly has finally established a wall over here to kind of cut off any foul play from the right side there. Vindicator still trying to press the issue. He is now pushed onto this tree line, so this is great for Vindicator getting all these villagers. This is great, and Stryker is trying to figure out an answer here. Vindicator is somewhat in a precarious position again. He's in danger of getting sandwiched, but here comes some reinforcements for Vindicator, so that's great news for Vindicator. Meanwhile, Stryker trying to get up to 150, 160 population. Vindicator is at 155. Meanwhile, Stryker's only at 127. 59 villagers for Stryker to the 69 of Vindicator. So he has very much kind of kept his villager lead and has continued to keep his population lead as well. And another big thing here is the armory was denied for Stryker as well. So Stryker's not able to get out those armory upgrades. I think, yeah, okay, he's finishing one over here, throwing up a couple more stables here. Vindicator is now in age 3, but Stryker throwing up the armory and stables. He needs to cancel this one, though, to get those resources back. Trying to throw up a fortress right here as well to kind of defend that part of his base, but Vindicator has effectively just canceled these town centers here. These villagers are just completely idle. Look at this. 9 villagers and 11 villagers. 20 so not only does he have a 10 villager lead, now 20 villager lead, but Stryker has 20 of his 54 villagers idle. It's going to be difficult for Stryker to come back from this. And Vindicator might get this town center. Stryker trying to stay in this game. Stryker just, again, desperately trying to hold on with these camels and these chariot archers. It might behoove him to possibly, I don't know, maybe get some war elephants to try to get those war elephants onto these bowmen to get that AoE damage onto the bowmen. Or perhaps even maybe go for kind of a cheeky play. Get some Priest of Set out here to convert these units into chaos. Who knows? But Stryker is holding his ground. At least in the middle, but he still doesn't have an answer for this northern force of Vindicator. Vindicator still raining hellfire down into these villagers, and now these villagers are out of the town center trying to repair this town center. They're going to save the town center, but at what cost? So many villagers are dropping here for Stryker. Stryker's still only at 58 villagers to now 90 villagers for Vindicator, so almost a 30 villager difference. He's going to be able to get these camels and chariot archers, though, onto this army for Vindicator. So Vindicator is trying to parlay this into long-term success, but Stryker doing everything he can here to hold on to this game. He's giving us his best Eerie impression, defending the heck out of his base, just holding on for that long game. But look at this. Cheeky, cheeky, cheeky. Sneaky, sneaky, peeky like from Vindicator, throwing up 2 siege workshops over here very close. I wouldn't even call these proxy siege workshops. I'd call these front door siege workshops. So I imagine he might be looking to get out some battering rams, maybe take down this fortress over here. Look at this. Meanwhile, let's check in on Vindicator's base. Interesting choice for Vindicator. Vindicator choosing to throw down his markets over here, perhaps in a more defensible location around his main base, and throw up his third town center where you might normally see the markets. So unconventional there from Vindicator, but a smart choice indeed. And Vindicator is now almost maxed out at 180 population, while Striker is stuck at 165. So Striker trying to get a fortress up here. He does get the fortress up, and does now have these units encircled. But look at this Takabara transition from Vindicator to try to counter these ranged chariot archers. But here come the first battering rams. And this could be good for Vindicator. He does only have one battering ram, though, so that may not be enough to really get anything done. But look at this. Striker has other ideas. He is deciding to go on the counteroffensive. He has pushed Vindicator completely out of his base. He called in the pest control, and he has eradicated the vermin from his base, at least at the front door. But is this lone battering ram going to be able to get this lone fortress? And it is. Striker does not react. You may have liked to see these villagers get off of this gold and attack this battering ram. And now they are. Actually, they're going down to build this wall here, because look at this Vindicator. Again, absolute mad lad. But that battering ram's able to get that fortress. So, at the cost of 210 resources to the 700 of the fortress, that was an absolute steal. That was an absolute bargain there for Vindicator to be able to get that fortress with one battering ram. Meanwhile, Vindicator still trying to press the issue here at the front door of Striker. He's got mounted archers onto the field now, so these mounted archers are going to be able to deal a great amount of damage to these camels. Takabara are able to support them, but are they going to be enough? A lot of chariot archers down on the field for Striker. No champion camel rider yet, interestingly enough. The Striker does have a wall up here now, so that's convenient for him. But look at this. If Striker doesn't notice this battering ram, he should be able to notice it soon enough. But oh my goodness, guys, remember what I mentioned at the beginning of the game? As Striker cuts down these trees, he's going to have issues in the front of his base. And sure enough, Vindicator just not relenting. He's just relentless right now, pushing in with these Asabara, and suddenly Striker's got to deal with this. So Vindicator, whereas Striker might be showing his best Eerie impression, Vindicator's showing his best Carnage impression right now. This is absolutely insane. Vindicator's just all over the map. Down goes the fortress. Striker, again, just desperately trying to hold on. He is maxed out at 180, as is Vindicator. So this is about as toe-to-toe as you can get, folks. Look at these mounted archers. What amazing units. But look at these chariot archers for Striker. Trying to pull the match back into his favor. But look at that. Huge get for Vindicator. Is able to get that town center. So now Striker is capped at 155 population. That is absolutely devastating for Striker. And such a huge victory for Vindicator. Vindicator has got to be able to parlay that into long-term success, though. He is now on the retreat. Striker, despite having lost the town center, is forcing these units out of his base. I think this is a little bit of an oversight. I think these units can stream through that little area right there on the wall. So that's unfortunate there for Striker. He needs to shore up this wall here and get that wall fixed. But Striker is going to try to get this town center back down where it fell. But look at this. Striker is now gold starved as well. He has no gold mines. He depleted this gold mine over here. He has no other gold mines. And so now all of a sudden Striker is very, very gold starved. He has no gold gatherers. He's completely reliant on his caravan. He maybe needs to even, I was going to say he might need to sell some resources, which he did sell some resources there. But he is completely reliant on his market line now in order to get gold. And that's critical for him. Look, he's still capped at 155. He does get the town center up, so now he's back up to 175. But he was stopped at 165 population because his cap was at 155. Battle of the Goats here. The goats are right in the middle of the battlefield as these units run roughshod over them. And this is absolutely unfortunate. Okay, I was really scared we were going to have the disconnect there. But this could be bad for Stryker if he gets these goats in his army there. Is Stryker going to be able to take down these siege workshops? He should be able to. It looks like Vindicator has chosen to fall back for now and is going to be getting his force back in good order to make yet another push. So Vindicator has relinquished the map for now, but has decided again to reorder his army here, replenish his ranks, and he will be looking to get a new push soon enough. 82 villagers to 98, 97 of Vindicator. Vindicator almost maxed at 200 population. And look at these Persian town centers in age 4. Absolutely brilliant. Stryker trying to take advantage while he can and regain a little bit of map control. Stryker would do really well. Look at this. Neither of our players have really scouted this far western edge of the map. And that could be, it could be a source of gold for Stryker. And he does scout this gold mine here. So he may choose to try to push out onto this map, maybe get a wall right here, maybe establish a wall right here and try to get control of this gold mine because he is still quite low on gold. And look at this. Counter push from Vindicator, and Stryker is completely out of position. This could be a killing blow for Vindicator if he's able to kill enough of these caravans. Stryker has no gold. He cannot afford to lose these caravans. Stryker moving his villagers away. Mass amount of refugees there, taking refuge away from these marauding cavalry units of the Persians, and he's trying desperately to get his units back into position, but look at this. Vindicator has another force to follow it up with, so this is absolutely devastating. Vindicator could deal the final blow in this game number 1. He's going to continue to follow these caravans. Very smart play from Vindicator. He's just continuing to kite along this caravan line and kill caravans as he can. And now he's going to try to get back to these markets. Look at how many villagers are over here. 20 plus villagers are very, very susceptible to damage there. And then now Vindicator knocking on the front door as well with his other force. So again, this is great play here from Vindicator. Stryker doing a great job of defending, but he's still not gotten back to 180 population. And he has nothing to defend this now. His caravans are completely undefended. And those villagers are undefended. And he's trying to stop this push in his front door as well. Down to 135 population, where Vindicator is at 200. This could be the end of game number 1, folks. Vindicator. Is Vindicator going to pull out the upset? He does. Good game. Good game. Wow. Okay, so let's check out some stats here. Villagers, Vindicator was able to take that advantage kind of towards the mid-game and again, never relinquished that advantage in terms of villagers. So had the greater economy, and as we can see here, look at that, 25,000 more resources gathered for Vindicator. So absolutely huge there for Vindicator. Vindicator had the higher military population pretty much the entire game. As you can see, Stryker was really, he did a great job making the game last as long as he did. Very hard-fought game from Stryker, and he was mentioning, that the the lag was a little bit difficult. And, you know, I do understand, you know, it is a little laggy, so it does make it a little bit more difficult. But unfortunately, we just can't do anything about that, you know, with this peer-to-peer connection. I'm not sure where Vindicator's based, but he can't really help it, so it's all good. Let's take a look here. Look at this. Vindicator also 13 tech advantage. So, yeah, absolutely crazy. Crazy game there. Great game from Vindicator. Hard fought from Striker. GG to both players. So let me see if I can get our next maps of South Africa. Yeah, I think you're right. I think I've heard South Africa. So, yeah, down on the southern tip of Africa. Definitely tough. So, Sheltered Pass in Sheltered Pass in Watering Hole are our next maps. So I'm going to get our next map and our next civ from our players here. Vindicator up 1-0. Vindicator is up 1-0. Countdown of 17, 50, 49. So game number 2 coming up in just a few minutes here. So it'll be game number 2 on what map? Let me check in with our players. Let me know what you guys thought of that first game. Let me know what you think Striker could have done better. Do you think it was his unit composition? Do you think it was his overall macro combination? What do you think it was that Striker could have done better there? Let me know what you guys think in chat. Okay. So, Striker has chosen Watering Hole as his next map, and his civilization choice is the Celts. So we're gonna have the Celts of Striker, and Vindicator has chosen the Babylonians. So we're gonna have Babylonians versus the Celts. Babylonians versus the Celts, and the map will be Watering Hole. So, map will be Watering Hole. Striker is going to be playing the Celts. Vindicator on the Babylonians. Man, guys, this is crazy. We're almost back up to 30 viewers again. After peaking at almost what was that, 150 plus, and we killed the stream, and then came back 30 minutes later, and we're still almost back to 30 viewers. So huge thanks to everyone who's tuning in. Really appreciate you guys hanging out. You know, it's been an all-day kind of thing, but you know what? It's hey, I've enjoyed it. I hope you guys have had a good time. So, and it's good to knock out a lot of these tournament games. So yeah, it's been a good day. Full day of Age of Empires. 10-second countdown. Y'all know what time it is. Get your popcorn ready to rumble. Steep says, I don't even know what Age of Empires Online is. That is how good this stream is. Well, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if you really don't know what Age of Empires Online is, but man, listen, I appreciate you. You are dang right that this stream is amazing, and we've had a great time. But check this out, man. Age of Empires Online, completely free, not even any microtransactions. Okay, so check out the links in the information on the channel, and give the game a download. ProjectCeleste.com, super easy to download, and man, it's a ton of fun. You're gonna have a ton of fun. Totally worth it. You're not gonna regret it. And again, what do you have to lose? It's completely free. So you're gonna have access to all content right off the bat. So get your friends in here, because this game's amazing. And guess what, Steep? I don't know if you've heard of this civilization in history called the Romans, but they're going to be coming to Age of Empires Online. Romans are going to be coming in 2020, so there's absolutely no reason not to download the game. There's a ton of... So it's completely fan-run, and the fan development team, they're dropping content. Not only are they developing the Romans, but they're still dropping quests and events. We just got done with our Halloween event. We've got a holiday winter event coming up. So much content being dropped from these fans who run this game, and it's just absolutely amazing. So shout out to the fan development team. But yeah, Steve, thanks for dropping by, man, and definitely give the game a try. I really don't know. I want to find out what this is about. Yeah, it's a real-time strategy game, man. But the cool thing is about Age of Empires Online is that it's got MMO elements to it. So you've got a persistent capital city for all of your civilizations, and you are able to get gear as you play the campaign and play quests. There are repeatable quests. There are legendary quests for the in-game content. There are different game modes. You can play against computers. You can play player versus player. So much different content. There's content for everyone. There's a global marketplace. You know, if you're a tradesman, we've got a lot of tradesmen in chat that absolutely love to spend their time trading their gear and selling their gear and all that good stuff. So literally something for everyone. But of course, the core element of the game is an RTS game, real-time strategy. So if you've ever seen the Age of Empires games before, or any other real-time strategy game like Warcraft or StarCraft, Command and Conquer, Empire Earth, Rise of Nations, those type games, then you kind of get the gist of what real-time strategy is and what Age of Empires Online is. And in my opinion, it's probably one of my favorite games of all time, if not my favorite game of all time. And it's definitely my favorite RTS of all time. Definitely my favorite Age of Empires game of all time. So we're glad you're here, man. Glad you're checking out the stream. StarCraft 2 player, sweet. Okay, so then you know exactly what RTS is. So yeah, Age of Empires is another RTS genre, or not a genre, another RTS franchise from Microsoft, and this game was live from Microsoft back in 2011, 2024, or 2014. But I did have to shut down here. So, 1 second, guys. I'm going to get a call real quick. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. Yeah, Caban correctly identifying that was, in fact, Recon, giving me a call from the United Kingdom to say, hey, bro, lay off, please. And I said, hey, bro, fix the game, please. Kidding. It was my brother. He was wanting to ask about dinner. So I have now eaten, well, actually, I didn't eat breakfast this morning, but I have now been through all 3 meal times with you boys and girls. So congratulations. You've spent your day with Spaniard. Spaniard spent his day with you guys. Wouldn't have had it any other way. Let's get back into the game, though. Striker trying to make something happen with these Celtic Spearmen. Vindicator in H2 throwing down his second town center here, and very nice town center indeed. Kind of on the western edge of his map here. Western edge of his base. Defending several different resources, but Striker did lose a few spearmen there, but he was able to cause these villagers to idle for just a little bit. He's going to gather from the water here, gather from these fish. He's going to establish some control of the watering hole via this dock, and he's now streaming in some longswords along with his units. So Striker is wanting to strike back with a vengeance, with great vengeance. He has gone for a forward town center, so this town center kind of barely covers the edge of this watering hole here, but not really. But it does cover these berry bushes and kind of the front of his base here. He is going for an archery range, so anticipating some Babylonian bowmen. He has fallen back a little bit, has moved his longswords back. So Steep saying that the only RTS he ever played online was Warcraft 3 and StarCraft 2. Listen, Steep, I think you're going to enjoy this game. This game is much more fast-paced than previous Age of Empires games. It's not, I think I've heard some of our top-tier players say it's still not quite fast-paced enough for them, but, or perhaps maybe it's too fast-paced for some, but I personally think it's almost perfect in terms of the pacing. It lends itself very well to decently timed PvP matches. You know, they're not too long, but they're not too short either, depending on how the matchup goes. So that scout, unfortunately, is going to meet his demise there. This Rhino is giving Striker a little bit of trouble here. Striker just kind of got a bunch of different units all across the map here, trying to establish presence all around the base of Vindicator here. But yeah, so Age of Empires Online is more fast-paced than previous Age of Empires games. So it might be a little bit more like StarCraft in that regard. but Age of Empires games are known for being a little bit more focused on macro and the economy than is StarCraft. So whereas StarCraft is a little bit more about that micro control of those units and that those engagements there, Age of Empires Online is still heavily micro intensive, but it is, at least from my understanding of other RTS games, it's a little bit more macro involved than other games. So it's kind of cool here from Striker. Striker is patrolling with these spearmen, I guess just kind of leaving them to their death to kind of see when Vindicator moves out, and he is going to see that Vindicator has these shield bearers, these bowmen. So Striker knows what to expect. He does have some slingers onto the field, but he maybe needs to choose to get a few more slingers, and he is going to go for a second archery range. A third archery range, and he's got a second barracks down as well. So he's going to invest into those longswords and into those bowmen. We'd also like to see a Sacred Grove, though. He needs to get those druids into the mix. As we know, druids are very important for the Celtic army. And look at this. Vindicator is trying to get onto the water here, but Striker is going to see that he's going to get onto the water. And so we'll see how he chooses to respond to that. Is he going to queue up a swan ship? He may. In fact, it may behoove him to get a swan ship so that he can control this watering hole. And if Striker's able to control the map, he may be able to starve the Babylonian player out of resources. But we shall see. A couple Lancers coming across the map here for Vindicator, trying to get a little bit of damage done, but he's not going to be able to get much done before they are scared away. Another archer range coming down for Striker. So, again, he's going to invest heavily into these slingers to deal with these bowmen, but of course these shield bearers are going to be a problem. He needs to micro his longswords onto the shield bearers. Striker getting a little bit out of position here, getting caught kind of out of position. Vindicator's not even in the engagement, but his units were able to snipe a few units for Striker. So Striker trying to amass his forces here, going to get out a second dock. Here comes the swan ship. So kind of as I anticipated there, wanting to get out that swan ship. No byreme yet for the Babylonian player, but this swan ship is going to be able to help the tide of this battle for Striker. Vindicator moving those Lancers over here to the left flank, going to try to deny this dock, and is going to be able to do so. These longswords need to get onto these shield bearers, and the slingers need to tag the bowmen. So Striker needs to show his micro skills here and see if he can micro these slingers onto the bowmen. The swan ship is on the run from these Lancers. Yeah, I was about to say this fishing boat needs to come repair the swan ship, and it does. Now these longswords are over here on these Lancers, able to shoo away the bowmen and the shield bearers, and now these slingers are coming over here to help the longswordsmen, and Vindicator has retreated with both parts of his army here. So this swan ship is now fully repaired again. Did not have to be scuttled, so that's good news for our Celtic player here. He needs to parlay this into control of this northern part of the watering hole, though. So far, Vindicator kind of has control of this middle island. Striker has something to say about that, though. He's going to try to move in. He did just go to age 3, so interesting choice from Striker to kind of stay in this engagement while he was also going to age 3. He is a little bit lower on population. Let's get a villager count, 54 to 60, so slight advantage for Striker in terms of villager count, but here comes a raid from Vindicator, so will this be able to even the score in terms of villagers? There is this lone villager here that does need to run away, and he is. But Vindicator trying to get some damage done here with these Lancers, and Vindicator also pushing in again on this island. But however, they are going to run to into the swan ship, so the swan ship is going to be able to help Striker in this engagement. But he needs to move that swan ship away from the shield bearers. He does. But so far, Striker is completely out of longswords. He needs to get more longswords onto the field to deal with these shield bearers, because these slingers are just going to be so ineffective on these shield bearers. He needs to. Striker's got his cursor at home right now. He's trying to deal with these Lancers here, but he needs to micro these slingers onto these bowmen. If he wants to win this engagement, he's going to have to get these slingers onto the bowman. Down goes the swan ship. So this is critical for Stryker. He's got to get back into this match here with some decent micro. He is getting bowman onto the field, but and he's also going to get some stables. So that is a good choice for our Celtic player to get those Celtic horsemen onto the field. But Vindicator pressing his advantage. He's going to be able to deny this gold mine. This is huge for Vindicator. Absolutely huge for Vindicator there. He's going to force those villagers off that gold mine. So now suddenly Stryker is fighting for the front of his base here. He does have a decent bank of gold, so he's not hurting for gold per se. But he is hurting in the sense that he has got to establish control of his own side of the map. He has control of the water somewhat, but he has essentially relinquished that, and now a Byreme onto the field for Vindicator. So, and look at this, these Lancers are right into the back of the base of Stryker. So once again, Stryker is on his back foot. This is huge. He needs to get maybe some spearmen into the back of his base. He does get some spearmen and now horsemen, so that is going to be huge for him. But look at this, just now getting a Sacred Grove. He needed to get a Sacred Grove much earlier, in my opinion, to get some druids onto the field, and is going to be able to deal with these Lancers. But again, at what cost? He's lost several villagers now, so let's get a villager count 50 to 58. So Vindicator was down by about 6 villagers about 3 minutes ago, and now he's suddenly up by 8. So absolutely huge for Vindicator there. Vindicator playing outside of his ever-loving mind right now. He is up to 160 population to 130 of Stryker. And look at this. These 3 Byremes are going to deny the water from Stryker. Stryker trying to get a little cheesy here. Throw up a dock on the western part of the watering hole. We'll see if he's able to parlay that into any control of the watering hole. Stryker very heavily going into these bowmen, but again, he needs to get some anti-infantry to get rid of these shield bearers. The horsemen may be able to do well enough, but nevertheless, he's got to do something about this composition. So we'll see if this horseman bowman composition is able to work out for him. These horsemen are going to be able to deal with these Lancers as well, but again, Vindicator has pretty well established control of the map now, and he did get to this dock before Stryker was able to do anything. Any silly tactics there with the dock, although Stryker went for that dock, but he already had a dock here. He's not doing anything with it, so I wonder if that dock was even worth it to put down. And look at this, Vindicator now in H3, so Stryker and Vindicator both in H3. Stryker trying to get a fortress up in the front of his base here, but Vindicator has planted his army firmly at the front door and is going to be able to deny this fortress. Or is he? This fortress might just barely survive. The shield bearers are now dead for Vindicator, so Vindicator is trying to queue up a few more shield bearers, but now that the shield bearers are gone, these ranged units for Stryker can finally get to the bowman of Vindicator. So finally Stryker able to break through that shield bearer wall, and he's got a little bit of defense in the front of his base now between this town center and this fortress. Let's take a look at armory upgrades. Is there an armory on the field? There's no armory for Stryker. Am I really truly seeing this? I believe what I see. No armory for Stryker. They are finally an armory. But nevertheless, Stryker is going to try to push out. He is still behind in terms of population, but his composition seems to be working well for him right now. He is going to be able to get a Byreme. And he's going to be able to push back to the southern edge of the watering hole ring. So if Stryker can take advantage of this, maybe get another dock up to supplement this dock. And that was smart from Stryker. I don't know why he built this dock, but he is now building a swan ship from this dock now that he is back at the southern edge of this watering hole. So he was very, very smartly waited until he had control of this part of the map again before he got another swan ship onto the field. So smart play there from Stryker. Stryker again just trying to slowly get back into this game. Does try to deal with this raid from Vindicator. Vindicator still trying to keep up the pressure, move in these Lancers and do a little bit of raiding. 58 villagers to 69. So Vindicator now squarely in the lead in terms of villagers, and also has a market line now established, whereas Striker has no market line to be seen. He may want to try to establish it on the western corner of the map, but as it stands right now, he is pretty well focused on this middle portion of the map. He's only got 11 gold miners, so he really needs to establish himself on another gold mine. He didn't even have a storehouse on that one. He needs, yeah, he's got a storehouse queued up here, but he needs to control another gold mine. He really needs to get a market up. I did say Vindicator's cursor just go over to there to that western corner, so I wonder if Vindicator's maybe thinking that Striker might try to go over there. Nice micro there from Striker. So naval units, for those of you who are new to Age of Empires Online, naval units, you can technically, if you can micro them well enough, you can dodge the arrows of naval units. The projectiles of land ranged units you cannot dodge, but the projectiles of naval units you can, of the warships you can dodge. So looks like Vindicator is transitioning to some slingers here for the Babylonians. So interesting there from him, trying to get some slingers onto the field to deal with these bowmen. And this is a pretty scary bowman ball for Striker. Look at this, 42 bowmen and supplemented by 18 slingers. So, and now he's pushed beyond the watering hole, and so these bireams are completely out of the picture. The bireams did deal with the swan ship, but now all of a sudden he's got 4. Oh my god! He's got 4 population tied up in the water, not doing him any good. And look at this, also Striker striking the caravan line for Vindicator. Is Striker going to be able to, against all odds, level this series out at 1-1? This could be a deciding engagement here. Vindicator trying to jostle for position, get his shield bearers onto that bowman ball, and look at this, nice flank from these lancers. This could be absolutely huge for Vindicator. Striker's units are completely encircled, but can he fight out of there? The Druids are doing their best to empower the bowmen. The bowmen are firing at close range, but Striker has given up his army to the battlefield. Down goes Striker's army. Striker down to 100 population. Vindicator at 152. Vindicator needs to push at this exact moment. Striker still trying to do a little bit of raiding over here on the eastern side of the map, and trying to establish. This is smart from Striker. You know, this is kind of the long game, I guess. Trying to establish a town center over here on the island, get control of this gold mine, get a little bit of defense for his dock, but he needs to maybe throw down a fortress as well, or at least a couple of guard towers to try to defend against the naval units for Vindicator, because Vindicator can get out ram ships, which do some nice damage against the warships. They are an anti-ship ship, so Vindicator did not finish his wall. He's trying to throw up a clay wall over here, so fairly incomplete wall there. And now Striker throwing up a fortress over here on the western corner. So again, I believe his idea is to maybe establish a market line right here in this western corner and also gain control of this gold mine. He's also going to be able to deny these berry bushes from Vindicator, but Vindicator again is going to see what kind of damage he can do here. He's going to make a play on the middle island. He is going to find that there is a town center now squarely planted on this island for Striker, but this could be inopportune for Striker if Striker's not able to defend this, because look at this, Striker's still only at 140 population to almost 180 for Vindicator, so he's desperately trying to defend this town center. These bireams have come around to provide some fire as well, and look at this from Vindicator. Vindicator again doing his best Carnage impression all over the map, and is going to deny this fortress and kill these villagers. Absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. Striker does have a nice bank of gold, but this is insane. He's throwing this fortress back. What is he doing? He has no units. What is he doing? Why is he doing this? He's now going to have to try to deal with this engagement in the middle. He may be able to win this, but he is going to have to pull away these horsemen to try to deal with these units over here for Vindicator. And now all of a sudden he's having to retreat because he had to pull away half of his army. And suddenly Vindicator is threatening this town center. If he gets this town center, is that it? He's still dealing so much damage to these villagers as well. These horsemen are going to now be able to scare away these lancers, but absolutely devastating for Vindicator. And Vindicator still threatening this town center. Striker desperately trying to keep this town center up. He is now able to move these horsemen back into the fray. And he thinks he's clear to move these villagers over here, but he's going to find that these villagers are going to meet these lancers still. Oh my goodness, absolutely devastating. Vindicator, again, playing outside of his mind. Striker has not been able to break past 130, 140 population. And Vindicator is staying between 170 and 180. And that's a GG from Striker. Wow, amazing. GG, well played. Vindicator takes the series 2-0. GG. Wow. Striker's not happy about the lag from Vindicator, but well played from both players there. Striker had a nice advantage towards the mid game, but was not able to Striker is not able to translate that into that long-term advantage that we were talking about. Look at this. Striker, he had decent control in the mid game, and in fact, that mid game engagement there, he was able to win, and Vindicator was way down in military population. Striker, had an opportunity to make something happen between minute 15 and 18. But then again, you see here that Striker, this is where Striker lost his entire bowman ball up here in Vindicator's base. He got completely surrounded, and it was absolutely crucial for Vindicator. He utterly decimated Striker's army, and Striker was never able to recover. As you can see, he recovered somewhat after that, but he just never was able to recover back into the game, and ultimately that's what decided it for him. The villager count was fairly even again. Striker had the advantage and then lost quite a few villagers to that raid, and so Vindicator had an advantage for a little bit there. But so the macro was somewhat even, and as we can see here, Vindicator only outgathered Striker by 3,000 resources. So, again, the macro was somewhat even. I think it just ultimately came down to those engagements and when to push and when not to push. And as we can see, the Babylonian player had more technologies as well. So ultimately, Vindicator wins the game, and not only wins the series, but wins it 2-0. So, GG, guys. Striker, my friend, I understand that you're